Welcome back. So many of you requested a deep dive into the world of new English teachers that we just had do it.
It's a fascinating topic.
It really is.
Yeah.
We're talking about the real-life challenges and the surprising opportunities they face when they step into the classroom for the first time.
Yeah, it's something that I think resonates with a lot of people.
I agree.
Whether you're directly connected to education or not, I think everyone has a memory of a teacher who made an impact on their life in some way.
And you've given us a really interesting mix of articles and research for this deep dive.
I tried to get a good variety in there.
Yeah, some of it is practical advice. Some of it dives into the emotional side of teaching. It's a pretty complete picture, I think.
I think so, too.
So, today's mission is to help you understand what truly makes this transition from student to teacher successful.
And it's a bigger shift than most people realize.
I think you're right.
It's more than just, gaining knowledge about your subject.
Right.
It's a fundamental change in how you see yourself, how you interact with the world.
Interesting.
Your whole way of being.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
One of the first things that jumped out at me from these articles was this idea that new teachers are often just bombarded with theory, years of learning about pedagogy, models of language acquisition, all this stuff, but then they're in a classroom with 30 unique individuals.
30 different people.
Each with their own learning style, their personality, their background.
Yes.
Trying to bridge that gap.
Huge gap.
Between this ideal and the reality, I think, is where things get really interesting, but also really challenging.
Without a doubt. It's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
It is.
You can read all the books in the world.
Yeah.
But until you're in front of a classroom full of kids, you don't really know what teaching is.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting how our sources actually break this transition down into stages.
Oh, yeah. How so?
So first, you have this intense period of absorbing all this knowledge, right? You're building a foundation.
Like a foundation of knowledge.
Yes. And a sense of, I can totally do this.
Right. The confidence.
But it's still all very much in the abstract, right?
You're not applying it yet. You're in the ivory tower learning the theories.
And then comes student teaching. And that's that first real taste of what it's like to be in the front of the classroom.
That's a turning point for a lot of new teachers, for sure.
Exciting, but also a huge reality check.
For sure, yeah.
You're suddenly dealing with, real students, not hypothetical ones.
Right. And all the things that come with that.
And that's when that self-doubt can creep in.
It's really common.
I saw that mentioned a lot in these articles. The imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Especially during that first year of teaching.
Yeah, you feel like
it's almost like
you're not supposed to be there. Like you're a fraud.
Like a trial by fire.
Exactly.
You're suddenly responsible for this whole classroom.
Right.
You have to do lesson plans, grading, parent communication, all of that.
All of it.
It all comes down to you. And it's a real test of your resilience, I think.
I think that's a good way to put it.
And let's not sugarcoat it. Our sources are pretty upfront about the challenges, especially when it comes to classroom management.
Oh, for sure.
Which I think is what a lot of people picture when they think about being a teacher. How do you control a classroom?
That's the question we hear all the time.
Right.
But it's so much more than just keeping kids quiet.
Okay.
It's about creating an environment where students feel safe, respected, and motivated to learn.
I like that.
It's not about control. It's about creating a positive learning environment.
Okay, that makes sense.
Where they can thrive.
One of the sources gave a really powerful example.
Okay, what was it?
Imagine trying to teach Shakespeare.
Okay.
Something that was written centuries ago. To a diverse classroom.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
Right. So you might have students with different reading levels.
Of course.
Different cultural backgrounds, even students who are still learning English.
Absolutely.
The challenge is making that play relevant and engaging.
To everyone.
To everyone in that room.
Right, that's the key.
And it gets to the heart of what good teaching is all about, right?
I think so.
Understanding your students and meeting their unique needs.
That's the essence of teaching.
And that brings us to another challenge that these articles highlight.
Which is?
Pedagogy.
Oh, yes.
It's not just about what you teach.
Right.
It's how you teach it.
The art and science of teaching.
It is, yeah.
Finding the most effective way to convey that knowledge and inspire a love of learning in your students.
This is where the concept of differentiated instruction comes in. So that's basically tailoring lessons to meet the individual needs of each student.
Precisely.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
think back to that Shakespeare example.
Okay, yeah.
You might have one student who thrives on visual learning.
Right.
So you incorporate things like graphic novels or film adaptations.
To make it more accessible to them.
Exactly. And another student might be a kinesthetic learner. So you create activities that involve movement and dramatic interpretation.
Right, so they can experience the play in a more physical way.
It's about recognizing that one size fits all doesn't work in a classroom.
No, it definitely doesn't.
You know, I can already see how challenging that can be.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for someone who's brand new to teaching.
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle.
And it's not just the practical stuff, is it?
No.
These sources also talk about the emotional toll of this transition.
That's right. It's not just about the skills and the knowledge.
Yeah.
There's a huge emotional component to teaching.
There is.
And it can be really demanding.
So we've talked about imposter syndrome.
Right.
But there's a wider issue of self-doubt that many new teachers struggle with. This feeling that they're not good enough.
Yeah, no matter how much they prepare or how hard they work.
And then you add in the sheer exhaustion of it all.
Right.
The lesson planning, the grading, the meetings,
yes,
and just the constant pressure to improve.
It's a lot to handle.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's definitely not a 9-to-5 job.
It's not.
It's something you take home with you.
And our sources also pointed out another challenge that I think often gets overlooked.
What's that?
Navigating the personal needs of students.
Ooh, that's a big one.
You're not just a teacher.
No.
You're a mentor.
Right.
A confidant.
A counselor.
Sometimes even a stand-in parent.
Absolutely.
Finding that balance.
It's a delicate balance.
Between being supportive.
Right.
And maintaining professional boundaries is really tough.
It's a tightrope walk for sure.
It is.
You want to be there for your students, but you also have to protect yourself.
And maintain those professional boundaries.
Exactly.
So it sounds like becoming a teacher is as much about personal growth as it is about professional development.
It's a great way to put it. It's a transformational experience.
It is. We've painted a pretty intense picture so far.
We have.
But our sources don't just dwell on the challenges.
That's right.
They also offer some really practical advice and strategies for success.
Yeah, they do.
So what are some of those?
Well, I think it starts with the importance of support systems.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued.
What kind of support?
What kind of support are we talking about? Yeah.
Well, mentorship is a big one.
Okay.
Having an experienced teacher to guide you. Someone who's been there, done that, can offer advice, encouragement, and a healthy dose of reality.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I can imagine how valuable that would be.
It's invaluable.
Especially during those, tough first few months.
Exactly.
It's like having a seasoned explorer, you know?
Yeah.
Show you the ropes before you venture out into the wilderness.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
A mentor can help you understand the school culture.
Absolutely.
Navigate tricky situations.
Yes.
Just provide a sounding board for your ideas and frustrations.
A safe space to vent.
Yes.
And to brainstorm.
Absolutely. And beyond a mentor, our sources also talk about connecting with other new teachers.
Yeah. Peer support.
Yeah. Building that community.
It's just so important.
Of peers, people who are going through the same thing.
Yeah, who are in the trenches with you.
There's something so incredibly validating about knowing that you're not alone.
Right.
In those struggles.
Yeah, it normalizes the experience.
Sharing stories.
Swapping strategies.
Venting.
Yeah, just commiserating sometimes.
It makes a huge difference, I think.
It does.
It helps you build that resilience that you need to get through those tough times.
Exactly.
You know, it reminds me of those online support groups for new parents.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's sleep deprived.
Right.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But they find comfort.
And solidarity.
Yes, knowing that others are going through the same thing.
Misery loves company.
It does.
Right.
But also just advice and tips.
Oh, absolutely.
And strategies.
That's one of the best things about those groups.
Yeah.
You can learn so much from other people who are going through the same thing.
And those peer networks can be a source of incredible creativity and innovation too.
I think so too.
When you bring a group of passionate, dedicated teachers together.
Yeah. Amazing things can happen.
Amazing things can happen.
When you have that collective energy and support.
So we've got mentorship, peer support. That's a great foundation.
That's a good start.
But our sources go even deeper.
Deeper?
Talking about the importance of reflective practice.
Yeah, this is where the real growth happens.
Okay.
It's about taking the time to step back and analyze your teaching.
Yeah.
What's working, what's not.
Okay. And why?
So it's not just about fixing mistakes.
It's not just about putting out fires.
Okay.
It's about
continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. always striving to be a better teacher.
And the teaching landscape is constantly changing, so
that's right.
Reflective practice helps you
stay
adaptable and responsive to those changes.
That's right. You got to be able to pivot.
You do.
And adjust to new challenges.
One of the sources suggested keeping a teaching journal.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Have you ever used that?
I have, yeah.
What do you think?
It's a fantastic tool.
Okay.
A place to jot down observations, reflections, even just emotional responses.
I can see that.
To different situations in the classroom.
Yeah.
It helps you identify patterns,
okay,
track your growth, and celebrate those small wins that can easily get lost
in the chaos.
In the day-to-day chaos of teaching.
It's like a personal archive.
It is.
Of your teaching journey.
Right. A record of your growth.
I can see how that would build confidence. It can help you stay motivated.
It helps you remember why you got into teaching in the first place.
Yeah, and this reflective practice isn't a solo thing, is it?
No.
You can do it with colleagues.
Absolutely.
With mentors, even students.
Yeah, you can get feedback from your students.
Yeah.
Which is really valuable.
It is, because you're trying to reach them, ultimately.
Right.
Creating a culture of feedback and collaboration, that's essential.
It is.
For growth.
For any profession, really.
Yeah. Imagine a school where teachers are regularly observing each other's classes, offering constructive criticism.
Sharing ideas.
It elevates the whole profession, I think.
I think so, too. It creates a culture of continuous improvement.
I love that.
Where everyone is learning from each other.
And speaking of support, our sources also talk about the role of schools themselves in helping new teachers thrive.
Yeah, the school environment is so important.
It is.
It can make or break a new teacher.
And it's a recognition that we can't just throw new teachers into the deep end.
Right. And expect them to figure it all out on their own.
They need structure.
They need support.
They need ongoing professional development.
Absolutely.
And a school culture that values their contributions.
That's essential.
It is.
They need to feel like they're part of a team.
One of the articles mentioned school-based teacher education programs, where trainees are immersed in a school environment from the very beginning.
That's a great model.
I think so, too.
It allows aspiring teachers to learn alongside experienced mentors.
Okay.
Work with diverse student populations.
Right. And apply theory to those real-life classroom situations.
Exactly. It bridges that gap we talked about earlier.
It does. Between the ideal and the reality of teaching.
That's right.
And it's not just about the training programs.
It's about creating ongoing partnerships between schools and universities.
Okay.
Ensuring that new teachers have access to resources, professional development, and a network of support even after they graduate.
So it's a much more holistic approach.
Exactly.
To teacher preparation and support.
It's about investing in teachers for the long haul.
I'm curious, how does all of this resonate with you personally?
Well, I've seen these strategies in action.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. And it's incredibly inspiring.
Tell me about it.
I recently visited a school where they implemented a peer coaching program for new teachers.
Okay.
Each new teacher was paired with a more experienced colleague.
Okay.
Who provided guidance, feedback, and emotional support.
And what was the impact of that?
The results were remarkable.
Oh, wow.
The new teachers reported feeling more confident, less isolated, and more satisfied with their jobs.
Wow.
And their students benefited too.
That's awesome.
Their students showed greater academic growth.
That's amazing.
And they were more engaged in the classroom.
That's a powerful testament to the importance of investing in new teachers.
It is.
It's not just about improving individual performance.
It's about creating a ripple effect. That benefits the entire school community.
I love that.
And ultimately, it's about creating a more sustainable and fulfilling profession.
Okay.
One where teachers feel valued, supported, and empowered to make a real difference in the lives of their students.
And that ultimately is what makes this deep dive so important, I think.
I agree.
It's not just about understanding the challenges of teaching. It's about recognizing that incredible potential that exists.
That's right.
When we create the right conditions for educators to thrive.
When we invest in our teachers, we invest in our future.
As we've been talking, one thing that's really struck me is how interconnected everything is.
It is, yeah.
It's not just about the individual teacher. It's about building this whole ecosystem.
A support system.
Of support, mentors.
Peers. School leaders. University partnerships. It really does take a village.
It does. To raise a thriving teacher.
And ultimately, it's the students who benefit the most from that.
The students. And that's why this deep dive matters, I think.
Absolutely.
Even if you're not
a teacher.
Directly involved in education.
Right.
We all have a stake.
We do.
In the quality of teaching.
Absolutely.
In nurturing the next generation.
Yes.
As thinkers, securers.
And communicators.
It's an investment in our future.
It is. And understanding what it takes to support new teachers allows us to be better advocates for them.
Absolutely.
Whether you're a parent.
Community member.
A community member.
Or just someone who values education.
You have a role to play.
We all do.
So, thinking back on all this research we've covered, what stands out to you as like the most crucial takeaway?
I think for me, it's the emphasis on continuous learning and adaptation.
No.
This isn't just for new teachers. This is a mindset we need to embrace throughout our entire careers.
Throughout our lives.
Yeah. No matter what field we're in.
Because the world is constantly changing. Exactly. Things are changing so rapidly these days.
The best teachers are the ones who are always evolving.
Right.
Always seeking new ways.
To connect with their students.
To engage.
To stay relevant.
Yeah, to meet the needs of the ever-changing world.
It's not about reaching like some mythical state of perfect teacher.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
It's a journey.
It's about embracing the journey.
Embracing the challenges.
The challenges, yeah.
The messiness of it all.
And the constant growth.
That's what keeps it exciting.
And that journey is filled with so much joy.
It is.
So much creativity.
And the incredible reward of seeing your students discover their own passions and potential.
There's nothing like it.
There's really not.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. What are your takeaways?
What's resonating with you? What's one thing you're taking away from this conversation?
What are you going to do differently? Maybe it's an idea you want to explore further, a strategy you want to share with a teacher in your life, or simply a renewed appreciation for the complexity and importance of this profession.
It's a tough job.
It is.
But it's also incredibly rewarding.
And remember, these sources we've discussed are just the starting point.
There's so much more out there.
If you're interested in learning more,
keep digging.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
On this deep dive into the world of new English teachers.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a fascinating exploration.
It has.
And I hope you're walking away with a deeper understanding of the challenges.
The triumphs.
The joys, and the incredible impact these educators have on our lives.
They really do shape the future.
They do.